fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's got with the outside of both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson! Anderson's up to
Oh my God!
Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's going to get rolled.
Second very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, there we go! Oh no! That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my God!
God, what?
Good evening and welcome to round 4 of the Australian Turbo Touring Car iRacing series right here on Simspeed TV. Today we're at Snetterton using the full 300 layout, which is going to offer up lap times close to 2 minutes and plenty of overtaking opportunities out there for the drivers. The championship is about as close as it will ever get. It's going to be one heck of a night, and the action should be fantastic. 2 races ahead of us. Let's get things underway. My name's Ryan Jones. Alongside me is Cameron Dance, and Jay Kennedy is behind the scenes as always. And Cameron, this Snetterton track going to be a bit challenging. A lot of corners to navigate out there, and only a few laps to get things done in this sprint race.
Yeah, certainly. It's actually quite a technical circuit, probably one of the more technical ones that will go to long straights, though, to add to it just to make the draft a little bit more prominent, but nevertheless, very, very synonymous with the British Touring Car Championship in real life and World Touring Cars and various other series that compete in British motorsport. So, yeah, really, really looking forward to seeing how the racing pans out tonight and what Snetterton can put on.
So let's look at the championship graphic then, because it is very, very tight indeed. There it is. There's just 2 points separating Cooper Webster and Ryan Jarrett at the top of the table. And then it gets a little bit far back to Mitch Martin there in third. He started to fall off a little bit, 28 points adrift at the moment. Pretty close in there on back with Maloney, Thomas Hinds, Reese Gardner, and Dave Roberts all in a close fight. Then comes in Mirot, Thomas Cool, and Ashley Norman. Evolution Racing Team making a big launch of the Teams Championship as well, because they've added in some more drivers for today's event. Riley Preston has come to play in the touring cars, and so too has Luca Giacomin, who unfortunately isn't in today's race, but should see at some point of the rest of the season. Dylan Shepard's also joined and signed up, racing for One Performance Racing, so we'll see how he goes. We saw him last night in Just Send It. Did pretty well there, see if he can carry some of that form over here to Snetterton, as qualifying is currently underway, Cameron.
It certainly is. And like you said, there's a few big names and recognizable names amongst the Aussie NZ community that are out here tonight, the likes of Riley Preston, Ethan Goodgold, Dylan Shepard, and a number of others, and as well as the regulars that we've seen throughout the series and last season as well. So yeah, it'll be quite fascinating to see who ends up where, especially with the likes of someone like Riley Preston, who's been well known to be a very good driver, has competed on the World Championship level in the F1 series. So yeah, really going to be looking forward to seeing who ends up where.
And thank you to our sponsors as well for this series all season long. RSW Graphics, RMS Race Management Service, and of course Simfinity, who are offering up that $900 valued rig, which will be drawn at the conclusion of this evening. Don't believe we'll be drawing it on the broadcast, but make sure you go and like the Australian Turbo Touring Car Series Facebook page so you can check out who's the lucky person to win that, as we ride on board with Ryan Jarrett as he comes across the line to complete his first lap thus far in qualifying, puts himself second behind Ethan Gregold, who's got a 7/10 of a second margin so far.
Yeah, pretty solid margin at the moment for Gregold over Jarek, but not doing too bad, obviously, on their first laps. Everybody else starting to filter in times, and it's reasonably close at the moment. And like we talked about, really technical track, so does tend to make the car work a bit more, and it tends to spread out a little bit more as well because you've got so many more corners to deal with.
And here's one of our new faces tonight, Dylan Shepherd, making his way around that long, sweeping penultimate corner on the racetrack. He'll have to keep the car glued to the right-hand side of the track to open himself up for the final corner. Throws it over the curb, and now on to this main straight. Dylan Shepherd then setting his first lap in anger for the series and for the season. He comes across the line with 2:02, puts him 14th so far. 2.5 seconds off of Ethan Gregault at the moment. Tim Grekoga sits in third, ahead of Mitch Martin and Dean Ross. That's your top 5 so far. As Cooper Webster, championship leader, yet to set a time, but he's about 20 seconds away from doing so.
Yeah, certainly is yet to settle at the moment, and I've just seen Tim Gregor go straight to the top. So we'll see what Webster can do here on his second lap. Still has one more lap as well, so can possibly pop one out of the bag on the following lap as he comes out of the final corner and down the front straight, trying to minimize the run. Although actually not deciding to hug that inside wall to shorten the run, but nevertheless comes across the line and goes straight to P1.
Great lap from him. Still another chance for him to improve that. He'll get it in with about a minute to spare.
Yes, certainly. There is not too long left in the session. About three, not odd, little bit minutes left in the session. So plenty of time for everybody who is on their flying lap to get the flying lap in. And those who are on their second or first lap probably going to suffer a little bit. Doesn't look like anybody else is on their second or their first lap anyway. Everybody seems to be on their final lap or they're finishing their second lap.
Hamish Clawland hasn't set a time yet, but he is on his third lap. He's grabbed some off tracks in his first 2 attempts. Wonder what he will manage to do. Still got a bit of the racetrack left to go. As we see Matthew Spencer cross the line in 15th place, a 59.257 will leave him in that 15th spot for now. In fact, no, puts himself up into 12th, so he found a bit of an improvement there. Dylan Shepherd will round out his qualifying effort, currently 18th. Can he get a sub 2 minute lap time in here on his third time of asking? Crosses the line, it's 1:59.5. He goes up into 15th, right behind Mia Ott.
Yeah, not really all that much of an improvement from Shepherd, and did possibly wonder if he's not quite used to these cars. Does tend to drive the GT style and V8 more than these sort of TCR front wheel drive cars, but nevertheless, not a bad effort to kick your debut race off, nevertheless.
Here comes Cooper Webster then around and in to the final corner. Gets a little bit of the grass on the outside as he widens the arc to head through that corner. Gets some more on the exit. Will he keep it glued to the right-hand side of the track this time? Yes, he will. He comes across the line. He's trying to beat a 57.8. He improves by 0.04 of a second. It's an improvement, but not much of one. The margin back to Koga just shy of 1/10 of a second. There's only 1/10.5 covering the top 4, in fact. Webster, Grekoga, Gregault, and Jarek, as Ryan Jarek wasn't able to improve on his final effort. It was only a 1 minute 58.25, which, funnily enough, still would have had him with a good enough time to stay 4th.
Yeah, so clearly some consistency there from Jarek, like we've seen over the course of the season. I've just seen Maloney go to P12 as well, but Mitch Martin looking like he's trying to improve on this lap as well, not doing too bad so far, in P7 at the moment.
Matthew Spencer then currently gone back to 15th. He's not going to complete that lap. Dylan Shepherd is going to get a final lap in here. He's just going to find enough time, as is Reese Gardner, who will stay... No, goes up to 5th. Great lap for the Fusion Sim Racing driver. Puts himself in the best of the rest position. Adrift over those top 4. You just saw Shepherd diving down to pit road, I think. And that will conclude everyone. Oh, we got one coming to the line at the very end of the session here. Benjamin Dahlia, 23rd. It's a 2 minute point 3.99. Puts himself up to 21st. A slight improvement, but it's enough to move up a couple spots on the grid. Here's how they'll line up then here for the sprint race at Snetterton. And it is Evolution Racing Team's Cooper Webster on pole from the outside of Tim Krakoga in second, Ethan Gricolt and Ryan Jarrett third and fourth, Reese Gardner, Riley Preston off row 3, Dean Ross and Martin Turner 7th and 8th, Daniel Tao and Mitch Martin 9th and 10th.
And on row 6 will be Mia Ott and Jake Maloney, followed by Leonard Billy and Ashley Norman on row 7. Row 8, Matthew Spencer and Dylan Shepherd. Row 9, Thomas Cool and Cruz McVie. And rounding out the top 20 on row 10 will be Jason Markowski and Thomas Hinz.
Benjamin Dahlia starts 21st after that late improvement we saw across the line. Joshua Cavallaro alongside him. Then comes John Halloran and Tristan Moore, Jake Sperry and Cameron Cousins, 25th and 26th. Then comes Hamish Cleland, and I think that will round out our field here today. A couple of race control people in the server to cast their eye over proceedings and cast penalties should they be needed. Race conditions, an estimated race distance of about 6 laps because it is a 2-minute lap time. 37-degree track temp for those drivers. Probably some people wishing for it to be a little bit colder, but it shouldn't be too much of an issue. Right on midday for the green flag and clear blue skies out there for these drivers. We have just under 30 seconds until we get ourselves underway. It's a very tight main straight here. Not a lot of room to navigate. If someone gets a poor start, find yourself 3 wide and out of room very, very quickly. As the clock continues to wind down, everyone lines up on the grid, and then we'll cast our eyes to the gantry, to the red lights, get ourselves underway. There's even a phone booth there on the right-hand side of that main straight. Classic English race track as we head through the UK for this 6-week swing for Season 2. As red lights come on, the green lights are out, and we're away at Snetterton. Not quite sure I got that one right. As they go 3 wide, deep in the field, and it's on up front. Ryan Jarrett coming under a lot of pressure there, and that was now him making a move on Tim Grakoga through turn number 1. The Evolution Racing Team driver of Ethan Grigolt just in behind them as they all funnel down into the very tight turn number 2, the hairpin. They all get through there very nicely. Oh, a bit of incident further back in the field though. Who's that? Matthew Spencer rejoins straight into the side of Hamish Cleland.
Yeah, a little bit of jostling further back in the field, but for the most part, everybody seems to have sorted themselves out. Riley Preston going backwards a little bit as well after a little bit of an off in turn 3, losing position 2. That was Dean Ross. So all sorts going on at the moment, and actually not a bad start from Cooper Webster. Exactly what he wants to do, especially with the championship lead that he has. But Ethan Grigolt, not that good of a start, lost the position to Ryan Jarrett and is coming under pressure from Reese Gardner now.
Certainly is. See what Reese can do then. As what's all going on here in the midfield areas. Dylan Shepherd finds his way around the outside of Ashley Norman. They make a bit of contact as they flash through on your screen there. And just in front of them, Maloney with a very poor run, potentially with a slowdown then on this lap. Going to drop a bunch of spots. So too is Mitch Martin by the looks of it. So a couple drivers getting unstuck and now into the chicane. Very easy to bounce yourself up and over that. And that's Messi. And around goes Mitch Martin. He just about holds onto it, but he's off in the weeds and the grass along with Thomas Cool down there as they head into the penultimate corner on the race track. And very unfortunate there. I was talking about that curb cam. That's what caused it all. One of the Markowski Motorsport drivers bouncing over it, running someone else wide, checking up a whole lot of cars.
Yeah, certainly. That curve was very aggressive, and in these TCR front-wheel drive cars, you don't want to really be hitting those big ones because it unsettles the car and end up losing all front grip and drive. So really unfortunate, and it just checked everybody up, and Mitch Martin was the big loser out of that, so not ideal for him. But Benjamin Dahlia going for a move on Jason Markowski, but Markowski hold it round the outside reasonably well, 2 wheels in at the dirt.
Oh,
and
they touched!
But they're gonna just pull it up, but Dahlia's going to make the move happen, and now he's going to take both of them probably at this rate.
He's the wrong side of the track though for 3. More door banging for Benjamin Dahlia, who's got the elbows out right now. Fends off Markowski. McVie goes for a wild ride up through the grass. Going to lose out as he rejoins right alongside John Halloran, who actually backs out of it. McVie allowed a slight reprieve there. Will just lose out instead to Markowski. A little bit further up the order though, Daniel Tao has just found his way by Riley Preston on the racetrack, and Martin Turner's prowling just behind him. We're watching Dylan Shepherd and Ashley Norman right behind Jake Maloney, who's trying to recover from that lap 1 slowdown on the way into the back straight. And now Mia Ott, the latest driver to get a slowdown.
Everybody, it seems to be falling victim to just running a little bit wide out of that corner before the back straight, possibly. And it's really not ideal, especially in the first 2 laps, which are really going to hurt you. Possibly even the corner before that, where they seem to all be really aggressive over the inside curve as well. So it's really something that a lot of these drivers need to be careful of at this.
Markowski's gone around further back in the field, rejoins right in front of another competitor thanks to Modem Simulation. We'll take a look at a replay here on Simspeed TV. This is heading down to that back straight. Markowski looking to make a move. They go 3 wide, and now it looks like Cool's just in behind. Did he get a touch? What happened? I think he's actually lost it there. Coming through the left-hander, caught the fence as well. A little bit of an odd place to spin in a front-wheel drive car in that section of track. Not what I would have picked, Cam.
Yeah, that was a really, really strange one. I do wonder if he's maybe compression locked the car a little bit and just gone down 1 too many gears, or not quite sure what's happened there. Being very bumpy, but the battle for 3rd and 4th at the moment is really starting to heat up between the car of Ryan Jerick and Ethan Gold.
Jerick was ducking and weaving every which way on the run between turns 2 and 3. Tried to get away by the Evolution Racing team driver. Grigot was unyielding, did not allow a way through or stay on this further back. Dahlia, if you're following him, was just run into trouble and in fact the fence. So he's going to drop a few spots as we are on board there. And there you can see there's Dahlia's car, but a damage to his front left. And a good battle here. This is Reese Gardner trying to fend off Dean Ross. Gardner doing very well up in 5th place at the moment, but it might not last because Dean Ross looking very strong right now in the DSR car. He gets the runner down the back straight, tucks in the slipstream as long as he can, now pulls to his inside. If Gardner can hang tough around the outside of the left-hander, he'll have the inside up and over that curve, which might be a little bit dangerous as he does hang tough around there, and he'll sweep back on through and keep a good stranglehold there of P5. Ross trying to get up the inside, but just dabs the brakes a little bit early and avoids making contact with him. Great exchange for the final spot in the top 5. They've separated out as well for 3rd and 4th.
Yeah, it seems that Grigot at the moment is starting to pull a little bit of a gap to Jerick and starting to close in the car of Tim Gartkrieger as well. So possibly going to see another dominant 1-2 victory for ERT if they keep this up. But there isn't long left. But now Reese Gardner coming back under pressure from Dean Ross into turn 1. But Reese going to just hold on to that for the time being.
Yeah, Ross just backed out of it. Didn't want to be on the outside there for turn 1. Gardner wasn't hesitant in taking up that racing line once he was allowed the room to his outside. Ran a little bit wide there through the hairpin. This might open the door for Ross, but he didn't quite capitalise on that at the exit of the corner, not the exit he needed, and has to fall back in line behind the Fusion car as we take a look at the replay of an overtake. This is Riley Preston, the Evolution Racing Team debutant in the series, up the inside of Daniel Tao at turn 1, a very good high-speed move, and completes it down there at turn 2. And I wonder if Ashley Norman got a piece of that as well. In fact, that's his teammate Martin Turner. No, he's still sat in behind those two for now. As I say that, he goes for a big late lunge. You can see it in the back of the shot there, and takes the spot away rather convincingly. I don't think Tao was expecting that one.
Yeah, it certainly didn't. It was a very late lunge, but very well calculated move by Martin Turner to get that done. And he's going to have to fend off Towel here. He's going to have a little bit of a run down the back straight and is possibly going to try for a mid, but not quite going to be close enough. So Turner will hold on to that position for the time being. Will hunt down Preston, but a little bit wide there for Turner, but manages to hold on for the time being.
your race leader doing comfortable lap times of a 1 minute 57.9 last time by, although Grakoga starting to catch him by a little bit. 2/10 quicker last time by. Don't know if it's going to be enough with just 2 minutes left on the clock. We'll have 2 laps to go here at Snetterton. Another incident. That's Joshua Cavallaro, who's ran into troubles in his number 16 machine. We'll take a look at the replay here. And this was into that chicane at the end of the back straight away. And it looks like contact in to the right rear right as he went to turn it into the corner. Looks like that car, Thomas Cool, might have gone for the redress there. He's redressed the spot, which is very sporting of him. Recent signs of VRM Simsport as well. Himself and Cruz McVie both making the jump over there.
Yeah, certainly, it's not the most ideal moment to have to end up making contact with your competitor. And I've just seen Mitch Martin, Lenny Billy go right out, banging doors massively out of the hairpin, and Billy will hold on to that position. But Mitch Turner looking to come back, rubbing against the bumper of it. Lenny Billy and going to look to the inside. Oh, bit of contact.
Oh, he gets turned, and across the track he goes. And Lenny Billy served up and chewed up and spat right back out there. Unfortunate.
Yes, certainly. You do have to possibly wonder if it's a little bit of the red mist that Mitch Martin, has seen there, and just given Lenny Billy a little bit of a revenge tap there. Probably didn't quite mean to send him that far, but nevertheless, there's of course going to be a little bit of bumping and barging going on in these touring cars, which have put on some pretty decent racing so far.
They have. There's still a 20-minute feature race to come after this, after another qualifying session too. So still plenty of action. If you're just joining us for the first time, not aware of the format, don't go anywhere when this one wraps up. One more time around, Snetterton, the gap has come down to 0.6 of a second. Grakoga, a lot of late pace here at the full layout of the second longest track in the UK. Through turn 1, can he get close enough for a last lap lunge on the Evolution Racing Team driver? It's ERT 1 and 3 at the moment with Eclipse in the middle of that sandwich. He shows a nose down into turn 2, taking a shallower line through the corner. The Panther Race Fuels car not too disturbed at the moment, but it's already come down by 2 more tenths on this lap.
Yes, certainly. Kruger seems to have quite a lot of pace late in this race at the moment. Seems to have quite a bit of pace late in the race in all the rounds so far. So, been really, really interesting to see the difference between the two teams, the likes of ERT and Eclipse Simsport. Obviously, Eclipse more aiming for late race pace than ERT are, which is just outright pace, which seems to hurt them a little bit late in the race. But nevertheless, Gokuga is going to try everything he can, but he's also going to have to remember that Ethan Goodgold is not too far behind, but Ashley Norman now coming under pressure, or putting pressure on Jake Maloney, who has actually been passed a little bit early, and there was a little bit going on at the hairpin at turn 2 between these two. So Maloney really trying to defend here and get some points.
Indeed, I think a little mistake and not quite gonna get there into the chicane. He was pushing him almost earlier on in the lap. As out front, Webster found a little bit more on this final lap of the race, and he's going to withhold the late charge from the Eclipse Simsports driver of Tim Grakoga out of the final corner. Cooper Webster, he's going to extend his championship lead. He's going to get it done here for race 1, round 4 of the season. See if he can carry that form into race 2 later on, with Grakoga can carry his late pace into the start of the second race as the rest of the field comes across the line. And that will wrap up a very good opening account for tonight.
Yes, certainly. Been some fantastic racing throughout the field here at Snetterton, and it's put on pretty brilliant show. So I can't wait for race number 2 with that pit stop, just to shake it up a little bit more.
Certainly, and let's go through the results then as everyone's crossed the line. And we'll have a look at how everyone came across and where your favourite driver finished in this field of drivers. If you heard me laughing, I just read the YouTube chat. Cooper Webster, a second. Majin back to Gakoga in the end. Ethan Grigot, Ryan Jerrick, Reese Gardner rounding out the top 5. Dean Ross, Riley Preston, Martin Turner following them. And then Daniel Towle and Maloney rounding out the top 10. Maloney managing just to hold off Ashley Norman on that final lap.
Yeah, certainly. And then Ashley Norman, obviously, in 11th, Mia Ott in 12th, 13th to Thomas Sins. Pretty solid recovery after starting in 20th. Dylan Shepherd in 14th, followed by Mitch Martin in 15th. 16th to Cruz McVee, Tristan Moore in 17th, 18th, Hamish Clown, Lenny Billy, 19th after that unfortunate incident between himself and Mitch Martin, rounding out the top 20, Benjamin Daly, and then the rest of the field, Jake Sperry, Matthew Spencer, Cameron Cousins, Jason Markowski, Joshua Cavallaro, Thomas Cool, and John Halloran.
We'll go to a quick break here on Simspeed. When we come back, we'll have qualifying and race 2 coming up for you right here from Snetterton on Simspeed TV.
Assist to the front bumper, and he hits him again now. Ray Alfala into the outside wall.
He's gonna pass nearly 3 cars down that front straightaway, and he's gonna get them all done with. What amazing!
Lee to the inside goes Logan Cloudman is gonna touch in. Pit press sideways. What a save!
Look to the outside as Tronke goes off. De Jong into second place.
Going for the switchback. Oh, pinpoint driving.
It's Howley down to the inside.
Trying this contact though. Slide left to the racetrack. Chris Leonard drives it back down underneath, and he takes that second spot right back. Joker goes to Garrett Lowe.
Garrett Lowe should take victory with all that contact.
He's going to try and make the move around the upset the Paravolca. That's not going to work, but he's going to try and get the cutback here. Get the run out the Paravolca. That's beautifully done there. Makashuba, there's a little bit of door banging as well.
This is fantastic. This is GT racing right now. He's got traction. He's going the outside. Both of them. Maloney. Oh, he's taking Anderson. Anderson's up to
Oh my God! Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get rolled.
Second very close. These guys, I want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, there we go. Oh no! That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my God!
God, what?
Welcome back to Snetterton, getting ready for qualifying here for race 2. We've got Cooper Webster with us, our race winner there from race 1. Good job, Cooper. That was a pretty good victory for you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Just another calm race. Just they get that start perfect, like I have in the past, and then control the lead from there. But yeah, it was very enjoyable driving out in front and relaxing.
At the end, we did notice Tim Grakoga was starting to come back at you. You managed to sort of equalise it a bit on the final lap of the race. Are you a little bit concerned about that heading into race 2, being double the length, or were you just a bit of cruise control out front, not really pushing?
I'm not too worried. I think if I can just get that start again, I shouldn't have too much to worry about. But yeah, we'll see what happens in this next race being a bit longer. Should be pretty exciting.
And don't forget, you've got to put it on pole first to convert that start and get out front. You still got
That's
that
right.
session coming up before we let you go and let yourself get ready for qualifying. Who do you want to give a shout out to?
Just like to thank all the boys in ART, Panther Racing Fuels, and MIR Raceline.
Oh, thank you very much. And I will hedge your bet they'll probably talk to you again at the end of race number 2. Good luck.
Thank you.
There's your race winner, Cooper Webster. What do you expect to see in this one here, Cam?
Pit stops, obviously, and probably some good racing. But yeah, it's gonna be quite fascinating to see what happens here. It does look like the sun's out again, so probably another warm track by the looks of it, 36 degrees. So tire wear's probably going to be playing more of a factor than we've seen in the past few rounds so far this season. We'll possibly see the overcut maybe play a stronger role than compared to normal.
Yeah, being along a track, you don't have to worry about filtering back out into traffic like some of the shorter circuits on the calendar, such as, say, Brands Hatch, Indy, or last season we had. Was it last season? We went to Lime Rock Park, I think, had the incredibly short lap times where you don't want to pit very early for at the back of the field because you will end up getting lapped and then you're in a whole lot of trouble. But being along track, no matter where on the field you can pit, not have to worry about coming back out in traffic. Now, if you're at the front of the field, that's where the issue lies because you filter back out into some of the slower drivers at the back who haven't made a pit stop quite as yet. But we have seen everything so far this season, haven't we, Cam? We've seen drivers pit on lap 1, we've seen drivers pit right before the white flag. It makes it very interesting, which is not what you'd normally expect from a 20-minute race where you just have to take 2 tyres, but it's been very good.
Yeah, certainly. It's been quite fascinating to see the different strategies and different tire combos that people have done, whether it be lefts, fronts, all that sort of stuff, and whether it be earlier on or late in the race. It's been quite fascinating to see, and no different will happen here. Being obviously a long track and also not too long of a pit lane, although it is not the quickest pit lane either. It's only 55 kilometers an hour, so very, very slow. So you don't want to get a penalty and you don't want to mess up your stop either.
Yeah, exactly. You've got to be very careful with a number of things in pit lane. Obviously, the speed penalty on entry and exit, but also not sliding through your pit box down there on the concrete pit surface where the pit garages are. It can be very easy to lock up and slide through. As we run on board for qualifying now, already halfway through, no lap time set just yet. Cameron Cousins will be the first to do so. So the benchmark set for the drivers will be about a 2-minute 2.6 then. That's what everyone's chasing out there. And in fact, he got an off track on that lap, so it doesn't even count. Thomas Hims puts the first marker down to 1 minute 59.4.
Yeah, much improved time there by the looks of it for Hinsey, and hopefully that'll put him a little bit more up the pecking order this time round instead of starting all the way down in 20th like he did in race 1. But nevertheless, going to be interesting to see who ends up where. Obviously, Cooper Webster at the moment is the man to beat from what we've seen over the past few rounds and in the previous race. So we'll see if he can be toppled by someone, whether it be the likes of Ryan Jericho, Mitch Martin, or someone else to step up to the table.
Interestingly, 3 times been put down so far. A lot of drivers picking up off tracks on their first attempt around on this circuit. Takes quite some time to get back around. There's Tim Grakoga's marker, a 158.594, half a second quicker than Martin Turner. Riley Preston trying to find some improvement, get a little bit closer to his ERT teammate Cooper Webster. He comes across to the line, it's a 1 minute 59.3, so puts himself third. Not a bad first lap time from him. Still 2 more attempts around the circuit. Here comes Thomas Cool then for BRM Sim Sport. Not going to be a particularly strong first lap. He's made a mistake somewhere on the circuit, so he's going to be relying on one of his last couple attempts.
Yeah, certainly. Lap didn't even count. So he's had a off track somewhere around the circuit. Reese Garner goes up to provisional P3 at the moment. Matthew Spencer to P6. Ryan Jerick just starting his first lap as well. Ethan got straight to the top of the timesheets with his first lap. Mitch Munn starting his lap, and also Jake Mulaney is on a flying lap, so he's coming out of the final corner now to set a benchmark time for himself. Coming up to the start finish line on the inside, trying to make the straight as short as possible. 158.9 puts himself P3.
And a couple drivers aren't going to get all the laps in. Cooper Webster just completed his first lap, and it puts him on pole for now by half a second back to his teammate Ethan Grigault in second. There is Tim Grakoga for Eclipse, currently third behind the ERT duo. What can he do as he picks up some of the grass and spits it out onto the racing surface as he sweeps around the corner, picks up some more, and then runs a little bit wide. Don't think that will affect him too much as long as he got a good exit and a good run down onto this main straight. He comes across the line. It's a 1 minute 58.764. Not an improvement for him.
Yes, certainly no improvement for him, but just also seen that, who was it? Martin Turner's gone to provisional P3 and at the Chicken Up Racing Car, so pretty solid lap from him. But Riley Preston coming across the line now by the looks of it to start his third lap up to P5, so not much of an improvement. Dylan Shepherd starting his first lap. Mia Ott comes across the line, puts herself P11.
Great lap time from Mia. Reese Gardner put a very good effort in qualifying for race 1. Where's he going to put himself now for Fusion? Currently 8th. He almost ran onto the grass in the straight line there. And he will stay. He will go up into 3rd. Very good. It gets knocked down to 4th now by Jarek.
A very reasonable lap there by Reeson. Grigault, I believe, has actually gone quicker on this second lap. So P2 still for the time being. Mitch Martin, P10 with a 59.2. Maloney coming across the line again to start his third lap up to P3.
Maloney then, a bit of an improvement from race 1. We've talked about it before. It's great having 2 qualifying sessions, 2 races. It gives you a chance to reset if things didn't quite go your way in the first race, and time for an improvement too for drivers that didn't quite get it. Riley Preston's one of those guys who's found a lot of time here in race 2's qualifying session. Ashley Norman, currently 13th, crosses the line, finds an improvement up into 12th. 45 seconds left on the clock, still a few drivers to do their laps.
Yeah, there certainly is. Martin Turner jumps up to P5 by the looks of it. Lenny Nobili, P13. Tim Gokriger, P2 as well. A couple of other drivers still completing their laps. Hamish Cleland, Riley Preston, Mia Ott, Thomas Cole. Hamish Cleland coming across the line now to set a lap time. Is it representative of 2 at minute 3 up into 21st? But what can Mia Ott do, as well as the likes of Riley Preston, who I believe has indeed gone to P4 as well. So very good lap there, and a very good lap from Mia Ott as well to end up in P12.
Very good lap indeed from Mia. That's an interesting livery she's got. That's a checkered flag then for qualifying. Let's go through the starting grid for race number 2. And it will be Webster on pole again. Grakoga alongside him again. So the front row remains unchanged. Will the outcome change for race 2? Ethan Grigault lines up 3rd. Jake Loney in 4th. Evolution Racing Team locking out that inside row for the first 3 rows. Riley Preston then from 5th, and Ryan Jarrett in 6th. Martin Turner and Dean Ross off row 4. Then comes Reese Gardner and Thomas Hens.
Row number 6 will be Daniel Towell, followed by Mia Ott. 13th and 14th, Ashley Norman and Lenny Nobili. Mitch Martin and Cruz McPhee, 15th, 16th, 17th, and 18th. Thomas Cole and Joshua Cavallaro rounding out the top 20. John Halloran and Jason Markowski. And then rounding out the field will be Hamish Cleland, Matthew Spencer, Benjamin Dahlia, Cameron Cousins, Tristan Moore, Dylan Shepherd, and Jake Sperry.
Well, a 28 car field. Track temp, roughly the same, 36 degrees. Track time, an hour and a half later. Estimated distance, 11 laps, not quite double. Race 1, because they've got to make that pit stop. To quickly explain that will be Cameron.
What was that? Sorry, Ryan, I actually completely missed that.
Alright, talk us on the pit stop in 30 seconds or less.
All right, so 55 kilometers an hour, reasonably long pit lane length. What people are going to do? 2 fronts, 2 lefts, 2 rears, diagonals. Who knows? It's really going to be confusing. The pit exit's going to be the fascinating one, with it ending up sort of on the racing line into turn 1. So maybe going to be incidents, and drivers are going to have to be really aware of when people are exiting pit lane as well.
That was exactly 30 seconds. I'm super impressed by that. Good job, Cam. All right, the lights are going to come on in a moment. It's Webster and Grakoga, round 2 here for race 2 of them on the front row. Will it change? Can Webster get the jump he needs once more? Green flag in the air, and we're away. Look at that. Webster's away well. Grakoga, not so much. Maloney's got the whole shot out of the front 2 rows. In fact, scrap that. What about Ryan Jarrett? The whole head of steam down into turn 1, but nowhere for him to go on that tight run down into that first corner. Maloney has to back out of it round the outside and has to cover off Jarrett. Down to the inside then, into turn 2. The big check up amongst the field as they all try to make their way through an incredibly tight second corner. Someone ended up off the track in the background, but other than that, no incident for anyone through there. Very good job from all 28 or so drivers as Jarek now looks to the inside of Jake Maloney.
Yeah, he's looking very racy as Ryan Jarrett move up the inside to get that position off Jake Maloney, P4 up from P6 for Ryan Jarrett. So pretty solid start. But Mitch Martin is out of this race. Apparently an incident earlier on at turn 2. Possible damage as well.
Oh, there's a few drivers there. What happened there? Matthew Spencer and Hamish Cleland finally become unglued from each other. We've got to get a replay up thanks to the simulation. What on earth unfolded up at turn 4? 2 by 2 they went into the corner, and 2 by 2 they probably did not come out of the corner. There were 3 wide, in fact, on approach. Markowski got turned, so did Cleland. He turned Spencer, in fact, just behind him. 2 incidents turning into one big 5-car crash up there at turn 4. And this is Mitch Martin. He's the car that ended up on the outside of the track up at turn 2 that I said about. Must have been his rejoin. Something has gone wrong for Mitch Martin. Maybe a technical issue. He's had a failure because you can see him weaving the car there. So something goes awry for Mitch Martin. Big shame for him. The margin at the front, nowhere near as big as it was at the end of lap 1, race 1. Cooper Webster leads under a second. Back to Grakoga, and Gragolt hunting down in 3rd as well. And then a very close fight from about 9th place in the race to 8th place. Martin Turner trying to fend off Thomas Hinds.
Yeah, Martin Turner has got pressure from Thomas Hinds, who's looking pretty racy at the moment. Starting in 10th, so he's made up one position, has Hinsey, but looking to not try make a move at the hairpin, thinks better of it, but going to try and get an exit here out of the hairpin. He's got a slightly better run, but going to be on the wrong side of the road of Martin Turner and not going to get the job done for the time being.
Hinds, of course, inaugural champion of the season. Got it done last time out in season 1. Not quite had the same rub of the green here for season 2, but he certainly had some good races. Looking to be another one now as he makes himself another spot up into P8. Gets himself further inside of the top 10 with that spot. Grakoga under a lot of pressure now from Ethan Gragolt. And he can't afford to defend too hard either, because if he does, Webster's going to drive away. By the same flip of the coin, if he doesn't defend and Gragolt goes by, Gragolt's going to be the perfect rear gunner for Webster out front. So this is a lose-lose situation right now for Tim, unless he can find some more pace.
Yeah, certainly coming in. He's in the middle of an ERT sandwich as Tim Gotkrieger, and they're both 2 wheels in the dirt. Is Gragolt and Gotkrieger not what you really want to be doing down the back straight there, but nevertheless holding on to their positions for the time being. But like you said, really coming under pressure from Gragolt is the car of Gotkrieger, but Gragolt dropping 2 wheels into the dirt down the back end of the circuit, so that's going to drop him back a little bit, but nevertheless still managing to close up and has plenty of pace by the looks of it.
Wonder if Grakoga thinks about pitting to get himself into some clean air and out of pressure range. Not this time by at least. Someone dives into the pits, followed by a couple more then. So our first takers into pit lane will be Martin Turner and one of the DRM Sim Sports driver of Cruise McV, Dylan Shepherd comes down as well. We did have a couple towards the back of the field on lap 1 who also made a stop. People like Mia Ott and Joshua Cavallaro were the takers there, as we are already 5 minutes into this race here on lap 3.
Yeah, so it's just flown by actually pretty quickly on this reasonably long circuit. You don't usually tend to see that happen on longer circuits, but nevertheless, been some pretty good racing regardless of the length of track. But Dylan Shepherd been given a drive through by the sounds of it for speeding in pit lane, unfortunately. So the pit entry has already called out one driver.
Well, that's a big shame for him. His debut race, not quite. Debut round, not quite going to plan for him. Krakoga has found some more of that pace he needed to find, and the top 3 covered by 8.5 tenths of a second as it came onto the main straight. Very close between these 3. Webster's not having it all his way by any stretch of the imagination here for race 2. He said he wasn't too worried. Maybe he should be, because Krakoga is right there with him. One tiny mistake for the Evolution Racing team driver, and he will find himself falling afoul of the Eclipse Sim Sports car behind.
Yes, certainly. You don't want to make a mistake here, and you really kind of can't afford to make a mistake here either with all this grass and gravel around the outsides of the track. There's no real concrete runoff per se. There's a little bit of the curbs, but not really anything you can afford to take and risk yourself.
Did Krakoga just fake a pit lane entrance there, Cam? I think he did.
He possibly did there. I mean, it is actually quite easy to fake a pit entry here as well.
Oh, Grigol! Sideways through turn 1, holds onto it. Great job to keep that car pointed more or less in the right direction, and immediately having to defend from Ryan Jerrick behind. All that good work through the first couple of laps comes unstuck for him, and that allows a huge relief in terms of pressure for Krakoga. We get a super duper slow-mo up on screen of the wild moment. He tipped it in, and the rear of the car has so much momentum going through it. It did not stick to the racetrack. Full opposite lock stuff for Grigalt. And so why am I not surprised that he caught that?
Yeah, very, very good job to save there. And really strange one, actually, to end up losing the car there at that corner the way he did. Not really something we've seen from anyone so far tonight where there's been any sort of imbalance with the balance of the car there in turn 1. But nevertheless, great save. And saving these isn't exactly natural per se when you. For someone like Ethan Gagot, who's used to driving rear-wheel drives every single day, sort of in the V8, where you don't really want to get on the power to try save these things. Whereas when you get a bit sideways in this, you want to sort of use the throttle to bring you back around and bring you in the direction that you want to go. So really good drive there to save it.
Very good indeed. Here we go. Martin Turner's just found his way by Daniel Towle, I believe. Either that, he's trying to fend him off, cover the bits. At least one of those statements is right, isn't that right, Cam?
Yes, certainly. He's trying everything he possibly can at the moment. Just can't quite get it done.
Not quite. And don't forget, of course, tomorrow we put the pros and we put them in the TCR, this exact car. We let them loose around Mount Panorama for round 1 of the Australian Racing Group eSports Cup, being broadcasted by Jay Kennedy, and that'll be live on a whole host of platforms and Facebook accounts and YouTube and basically anywhere that races in as part of the Australian Racing Group. It'll be live on their Facebook channel. The entry list for that is, well, it's talented to say the least. Whether they can carry that to sim racing, well, that's going to be half the fun of tomorrow night.
Yeah, certainly. It's one of those things is the sim versus reality is really quite a fascinating tale that you can talk for hours about. And those who do have experience, obviously, are probably going to excel. But there are those that just don't do it a lot. But naturally, the progression does seem to transition over. So really looking forward to tomorrow night and seeing what the real drivers can do and who's going to end up coming out on top. You've got plenty of good talent there, including the current champion Will Brown from last season as well, joining in on the action. So yeah, really looking forward to it and seeing who's going to come out on top on that one.
It will also be on the radio too. The chat potentially we hear. I've just been told potentially. Okay. Well, it might be on the radio. It might be. It might not be. I'm sure if you go and like the Simspeed Esports Network on Facebook, you will be enlightened to any updates as to where you can go and watch that broadcast, and you can go and support Jay as he goes big time, as going big time into pit lane. There was someone almost losing it.
Yeah, nearly losing it into pit lane
Oh,
was
it's Koga.
Gottkruger, and coming in really hot. And actually, I wonder if he
Wow.
did speed into pit lane there.
That was committed. I'll give him that much. Koga. Don't think he got a speeding penalty. He was pretty damn close to it, and you can see how tight it was from that angle too, in terms of how tight the entrance is. These are the leaders of the race in terms of those who've made a pit stop. Of course, Webster and co will come out in front, barring huge disasters, similar to Koga, who has got Jay behind the scenes, not feeding us false info.
Oh!
Hey, contact there. Hins goes for a wild ride, holds onto it. We were told Koga got a speeding penalty. Then immediately as I went to tell you guys, he had not got a speeding penalty. As we continue to watch this battle, trying to switch back, not quite going to do it. Hins, finally, will take that spot away.
Yeah, and actually physically getting pushed out of the hairpin by Dean Ross was Thomas Hins there. He literally was pushing him as fast as he possibly could without making, well, ending up dumping him anyway. But nevertheless, Dean Ross going to not quite be able to get the position back, and he's going to come under pressure from Race Gardner, Fusion Sim Racing car just behind, who's looking very racy at the moment. Not quite going to get the exit that he needed though. But nevertheless, this battle really starting to heat up, and they've got Jake Maloney not too far up the road either.
Oh, they touch again to Hins and the DSR car of Dean Ross, who will dive through on the inside, heading on to this long back straightaway, but Hins tucked up in the slipstream, gonna move across. Ross is gonna chase him across the track, defending all the way to the inside, dives back to the racing line, and they converge in the middle of the corner with Dean Ross still ahead once more, and right behind them is Reese Gardner, now watching on as well. He wants in on this battle, or maybe he doesn't. Maybe he just wants to sit back and let these two carry on in their extremely aggressive racing. 7 minutes remain just about in this race, and these two going at it tooth and nail like it's the final lap of the race as they finally make it through a corner without making any more contact. As Jarek comes out of pits in front of Koga.
Yeah, he certainly does, and actually very fascinating that he actually did manage to do that. I've just seen Gottkruger go a little bit wide there in the background of the shot, but nevertheless, that battle between Dean Ross and Thomas Hins back on again. Hinsey looking up the inside at the hairpin on Ross, not quite going to hold on to the position, but they're going to go side by side. Ross will probably get the position back regardless, back inside the top 10.
This is fantastic stuff for the final spot inside the top 10 on that leaderboard. Still going at it. Still, it's Dean Ross. Now Hins again shows a nose to the inside. Trying again. Unyielding and contact between them. Ross gets sideways. He holds onto it. Will fall in behind Gardner. Will Hins redress? Or will he run away from Dean Ross as fast as he can? Because I'm sure retribution might be coming his way after that. Doesn't look like a redress is forthcoming. So an interesting exchange comes to an abrupt end between those two drivers, putting on a fantastic show for us there. Few people still yet to make a stop. Ethan Grigol now comes into the lane. Webster out front, one of very few who have yet to pit, as Thomas Cool comes down into the pits as well. Jake Sperry has just found his way into the fence. He did that right in front of Tim Grakoga, which is why I paused, because I saw that live, and I was wondering if Grakoga might get involved. Thankfully, not the case. Take a look at the replay here. Just lost the rear end heading into this left-hander.
Yeah, this left-hander seems to really be catching out a lot of people in terms of losing that back end, which, yeah, despite it being a front-wheel drive car, it is quite a bumpy corner, so not surprised that there is a number of people losing their rear end, but nevertheless, he's going to lose another position is Jake Sperry. In fact, he comes into pit lane to get that pit stop out of the way for the time being.
Cooper Webster then, a 9.6 second lead. It's about 44 seconds back to Gergolt, the first car that's pitted. Robbie Preston sits in second, yet to make a stop, along with Lenny Nobili, the only other driver yet to do so for MMS Esports. That number 5, bright green and black car. Then comes Gergolt, Jarek, Drakoga, very close between them. Then Maloney, Hinds, and Reese Gardner. Hinds is going to be in the thick of another battle now because Gardner is putting a lot of pressure on him and almost getting into the back of him down into turn 4.
Yeah, Reese really being racy over the past few rounds. Has shown some really good potential, actually. He's been pretty happy by the sounds of it with his pace, so he'll definitely be happy with this top 10 result tonight if he can hold on to it. And if he can get a few more positions from Maloney and Hinz, he'll definitely be even more wrapped. So be trying everything he possibly can to try and get by Hinzy and Maloney, possibly, if he can get the job done. But Dean Ross is really going to be hunting down Thomas Hinz for a bit of retribution, probably, if he can.
A race leader finally decided to come into the pits. The number 37 Evolution Racing Team car up on the jacks, getting his 2 tyres changed. Will he rejoin in the lead of the race? It's the big question as we continue to watch this 4-way battle for what should be 5th on the racetrack once Preston and Nobili all pit as well. Currently, though, it is for 7th place with just over 3 minutes remaining on the clock. Webster gets dropped off his jacks and comfortably in front of Ethan Grigault. And Cooper Webster then will retain the lead of the race from Grigault, Jarek, and Grakoga, the chasing trio through turn 1. Look at this, side by side, Hinds. Ooh, backs out of it.
Hinsey really tried to hold it there, but Maloney just had enough of a run to get around the outside. Reese Gardner's been coming under pressure from Dean Ross as well, so this little train is starting to form into a 4-car battle for the final position just outside the top 5 and then just inside the top 10 as well. So these guys are really going at it tooth and nail, and Maloney's got a lot of pressure from the 3 cars behind, and he seems to be doing really, really good job holding on to it.
He is vastly experienced as that Trans-Tasman racing driver and showing that now as he doesn't falter under the pressure from Maloney. And now Gardner's got Dean Ross for company on his rear end as well. So those two starting to come together on the race track. And Dean Ross finding some improvement in the last couple of laps to claw his way up into that position. Lamage at the front, the provisional front, is just 0.8 of a second between 1.2 seconds between Webster and Grigault. It's 0.8 from Grigault back to Jarek. Now, I don't think if Grigault has the pace that he will actually try to pass Webster, because Cooper is, of course, leading the championship. Grigault not inside the top 10.
Yes, certainly. Grigault probably just trying to get some more team points for his team in the team's championship. Obviously, been scoring a lot of points with Webster, and Webster with the championship lead at the moment. There'll probably be a little bit of fair gamesmanship between these two. And obviously, being teammates, they want to work together to try and score as many points as possible and not take each other out. But Ryan Jarrett really starting to put some pressure on at the back end of that ERT car of Ethan Grigault, and not too far behind is Tim Gokriger. So possibly going to see a battle between these two at some point.
Gokriger lost a lot of time, didn't he, in that pit stop phase? He didn't get a speeding penalty, but even with that massively committed entry, he lost out to Grigault and Jarek, curiously.
Yeah, well, that's really strange. He seems to have lost out quite a bit slower as well, about 5 seconds slower than what Jarek was Gokriger, and then obviously about 4 seconds or so quicker than Ethan Gold actually, so 2 seconds slower than Grigolt, sorry. So really, really strange, and interesting enough, Grigolt actually had a quicker pit stop as well. So yeah, it seems to be a very strange trend with these Eclipse cars having slightly slower pit stops than everybody else.
Running on board with Ryan Jarek. This is Seeger Girl tapping the brakes, middle of the corner there, helping to get the car rotated. And again, seems to be a trick with TCR cars. Just dab the brakes the last little bit, help the rotation as Jarek firmly tucked up under that rear spoiler. Down the back straight and into the chicane. Does he go for the move? Does he pull to the inside? No, just backs off and lets himself get through the corner with a bit of clean air on the front of the car. Sets himself up for somewhere else on the racetrack. This is the final lap of the race as well, according to our timing screens. So that means Cooper Webster completely unfazed from behind. He's going to go back-to-back here at Snetterton, and that championship looking very much in his favour as he increases the gap once more. Cooper Webster gets it done in race 2 in Snetterton. Behind them, Grigolt will hold off Jarek and Grikoga in 4th.
I do believe we've actually gone a little bit prematurely there, Ryan. We've actually got one more to go now. So
Damn it,
Ryan
Jay!
all over the back end of Ethan Grigolt. Going to look to the outside, but not quite going to get the job done. But a contact between the two of them now. Gokrig is going to be right in this, but Ryan Jarrett really going to be pressuring the back of Ethan Grigolt to try and get this move done for second place.
I mean, I did think that I found it odd that I hadn't noticed it was the final lap, but it said it on the timing screen, and Jay didn't say it was wrong, so I trusted the timing screen. As Grikoga, where's he gone? Very wide, and he will not finish higher than 4th, unless there's a mistake front between Jarek and Grigolt. Hopefully, we haven't put the curse on on Cooper Webster out front. He's still got the half a lap to navigate as Jarek gets right up onto the back bumper of Grigolt through the corner, leading on to the back straight away. It's a crucial part of the track. Has he got it right? He's all over the back of him. Does Grigolt defend? Jarek doesn't attack. There he goes. He hasn't defended, so he gets to the inside. He's on the wrong side of the track for the right-hander, though. Can he get enough of an overlap through here? Just enough room given. Side by side through there they go. And they'll stay side by side, heading into the penultimate corner on the track. It's an extremely long corner, tough to go around the outside. He's squeezing Grigolt, and he's going to take it. What a move there from Ryan Jarek to take the spot away. Does Grigolt have a lunge back at the final corner? No, he can't. Deep into there they go. Jarek will take it away as out front this time round. Cooper Webster gets it done for race 2. And Jarek took second place away with a very bold move there, and Grigolt has to settle for 3rd.
Great move there by Ryan Jarek to get the job done from all the way from the entry to Brundle, all the way through Bomb Hole, Coram and Murray's. Great driving there to go round the outside and get the job done. Fantastic stuff there by the Eclipse Sim Sports driver.
Certainly, what a move around the outside. I didn't think that was going to be possible at some point today. And maybe that point will matter come the end of the season, because he will be trailing by only about 5 or so points heading into the final 2 rounds of the season over at Brands Hatch, the GP layout, and the Silverstone full layout as well. 2 rounds that will provide plenty more action, and I'm sure some drama and some twists and turns as we look at our full results from race 2 for round 4. That was the top 4 as you saw them across the line. It was Maloney running out the top 5 from Thomas Hinds and Reese Gardner. Dean Ross, Riley Preston, Daniel Towell rounding out that top 10.
Just outside the top 10 will be Mia Ott, who just edged out Martin Turner for 11th place. Martin, unfortunately, coming up a little bit short in the end across the line, so he will take 12th. 13th to Ashley Norman and Chris McVie, 14th. Running at the top 15, Lenny Billy, followed by Thomas Cool in 16th. John Halloran, 17th. 18th, Benjamin Dahlia, 19th. Jason Mikowski. Rounding out top 20, Tristan Moore, and then the rest of your finishes: 21st, Matthew Spencer, 22nd, Hamish Clown, 23rd, Joshua Cavallaro, Cameron Cousins, 24th, 25th, Jake Sperry, and then Dylan Shepard in 26th, and Mitch Martin 27th after some issues late in the race.
So we'll wait some of the drivers to jump into the interview booth, and we can do some post-race interviews as Webster and Grigalt just finishing off their cool down lap out there. And Dean Ross showing off the new damage model in lap 55 car. He finished this one in 8th, exactly where he started, so a pretty steady race for him. But Cameron, another great showing for this season.
Yeah, it certainly has. Cooper Webster again putting his foot down to show he is here to indeed win this title. Pretty another dominant performance, and cannot see this changing at all. So would not be surprised if he can wrap the title up just a little bit quicker than we saw Thomas Hinds do last season. But nevertheless, plenty of racing still going. Anything can happen.
Oh, from my calculations, it's only a 6-point buffer between himself and Jarek, so still a lot of points on offer. 200 points still on offer left in this season. So Jarek, by no means, any way, shape, or form is he out of this title fight. He is well and truly alive in this battle as we are still waiting. Cooper Webster, jump in the booth, please. Or Jarek or Grigalt. I would love to talk to Grikoga actually and find out why his pit stop phase dropped him so far down the order, because he was really challenging Webster, wasn't he?
Yeah, he certainly was. It was very, very strange how he had such a slow stop. It was actually pretty much on par with what Cooper Webster had. So, yeah, really strange why he had a slow stop and how it was slower compared to his teammate Ryan Jarek as well.
And we have Ryan Jarek now in the booth. Second place today. What a move to get to that spot.
Thanks, guys. That felt good. I didn't think it'd work, but glad it worked in the end.
Yeah, I'll be honest, neither did I. I thought that was impossible, but you did it somehow. And that point could be vital coming into the season. Webster's looking in ominous form as of late. Pole and both race wins. He clean swept it today. How do you feel heading into the final 2 rounds? 2 tracks have been out already this season, albeit slightly different layouts. Have you got anything in the tank to reverse that margin to him?
I'll give it my best. I was feeling a bit off it tonight, so second position I think was the best I could do there. But the next 2 tracks this championship really suit me, so hopefully we can get up there again.
Well, it should be a great battle that we watch unfold. In terms of pit stop strategy, obviously your teammates with Grikoga both running for Eclipse Simsports, trying to have a crack at that team's title. Grikoga had a pretty odd pit stop phase. He was extremely committed to entry and somehow still lost a ton of time. Do you know what the story was there? Did you guys, any communication between you guys?
A little bit of communication between us, but it was mostly confusion because as far as we can see, he did everything right in the box, but it was actually in the box where he lost the time. He was about 3 or 4 seconds slower in the box than me.
Wow.
So we need to work that one out.
Yeah, that was a big shame because I think he would have been right up there challenging with Cooper Webster. He certainly was before that pit stop phase. Hopefully get it sorted, ready for next week. He can maybe help you out with that battle with Webster. Before we let you go, who are the sponsors and the people we want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, big shout out to pitbox.io again, downunderhost.com, and to all the guys at Eclipse Simsports. It's been awesome once again this week from the guys.
Thank you very much. Hopefully we'll talk to you next time. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, guys.
That was your second place getter, Ryan Jarek and Cameron Dent. You got Cooper Webster back in the booth.
Dominant performance once again, Cooper. Well done. And yeah, you can't be too displeased with another dominant performance.
No, I'm very happy with that. I think I could have done the strategy a little bit better, but all in all, it was a 10 out of 10 race there.
Well, regardless, we did actually notice something interesting. Obviously, you guys seem to struggle a little bit later in the race. Well, when the tyres start to have a little bit of life used out of them. So are you guys sort of going for a more aggressive approach with your setups, or are you not quite in the window yet?
Exactly right. I think that relative to their setups, we are running something that is more suited to the start of the race and getting the tires warmer. It seems like, but when the track position is so important at these sort of races, that this is our kind of sort of strategy of towards the race when we're setting up the cars.
Well, it certainly is. And with Brands Hatch, the Grand Prix layout up next, you're looking forward to, and what are you looking forward to possibly happening there?
Looking forward to keeping this rhythm up that I have found in this series. It's one of my favorite tracks in iRacing, so I'll get to doing some laps and hoping to do the same again.
Well, before we let you go, any shout outs and any sponsors you want to give another shout out to?
Yeah, once again, Panta Racing Fuel and MIR Raceline, as well as all the boys, Ethan, Riley, and Brenton in ART for their support this tonight.
Well, there you have it, Ryan. First place winner for race 2, and dominant performance once again from Cooper Webster. And I believe you're standing by with third place, Ethan Gold.
I am now. Ethan Krigolt, great job. P3 in race 2. You almost had second.
Yeah, a little bit annoyed at myself on that one. I probably left a little bit more room than I should have in the end. But yeah, after that last pit stop, just coming out those few laps later than the boys behind, just had no grip to fight with. And as you could see, just Ryan threw it straight around the outside, and I had nothing to do about it.
That's a shame. But in terms of your mindset, then obviously, don't believe you're currently inside the top 10 in the points. Cooper Webster is, of course, leading it. When you've got guys like Ryan Jarek who are right up there battling in for the championship, are you doing your utmost best to serve as a really strong rear gunner for Webster and try to hold off those championship contenders as much as you can?
I don't know. I'm just driving, really. That's about it. I'm just going as fast as I possibly can. So still trying to get used to these cars, try and figure out how the tires phase in and whatnot, and figure out the best time to jump in the pits in this second race. So which we haven't got that all down pat yet. Cooper's been driving awesome. He's just been winning everything. So he's obviously got his head around it, but we need to fight back a bit more, I think.
To be fair, you driving fast is probably just as good as defense as anything out there, and maybe just follow Cooper Webster in terms of pit strategy, because I think he seems to have it figured out and sussed out up there. And we head into 2 more rounds. Evolution Racing team are looking pretty solid on the team's championship front. You say you're just driving, so is there any thought given to the team's championship to bring one home for your team boss?
Well, I'm pretty sure team boss Brenton would think so, but as I said, just driving. That's about it. Just out there trying to have fun, drive a different car. So yeah, we're just trying to do the ERT banner proud and try to get up there for our new sponsors. So
hey, I'll tell you what, you're doing a fantastic job of it so far. It's great to have a powerhouse team, really, of Australian Sim Racing running around in this series, and I can only see this getting bigger and bigger. Before we let you go, who are the people that get it done for you and the sponsors you want to give a shout out to?
I'd just like to thank, as usual, all the guys over at ERT for putting in a stellar week of work, and our new sponsors are Panta Race Fuels and MIR Race.
Thank you very much, Ethan. Hopefully you find that last little bit, and maybe you can challenge your teammate next time out.
Yeah, that'd be good, eh? He's kind of annoying me how much he's winning now, so I got to stick one back at him eventually.
Oh, we will love to see that. Talk to you next time. That was Ethan Grugolt, third place in both races today, and we will wrap up our broadcast then for round 4 of the season. We'll be back at the same time next week for round 5, and before then, tomorrow, of course, so man, Jay Kennedy behind the scenes on the Australian Racing Group Esports Cup, live across Facebook and YouTube, and I believe on Twitch as well, so make sure you tune into that. We've got the Friday night double take with VRS GT Sprint and Class C Trucks on Friday, and then on Saturday, NASCAR iRacing Series from Bristol. That will be mega fun. Can't wait for that. Make sure you subscribe to the Simspeed YouTube and the iRacing Esports Network as well, where you can find all our broadcasts across both those channels, like us on Facebook as well, so you can stay up to date with all our updates. And from myself, Ryan Jones, Cameron Dance alongside me, and Jake Kennedy behind the scenes, thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
This is fantastic. This is GT Racing right now.
He's got traction, he's got rhythm, both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson. Anderson's up top.
Oh my god! Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get rolled!
Six very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, there we go. Oh no! That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my god!
God, what?